This is Channel 5 News in the headlines. Prime Minister Skerrit not convinced that CBI funds should be used to pay salary increases to public servants. Dominica and OECS counterparts identify means to establish inroads into the Cuban market, and Calypso writers want to pay attention to the rules of the craft to avoid lawsuits. I am Iduna John-Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. First up, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says it's dangerous for any government to rely on funds generated under the Citizenship by Investment program to meet recurrent expenditure. Julian Morris explains.
The Public Service Union has rejected a wage freeze from government on behalf of public servants, and questions are being asked as to why a wage freeze while millions are being spent on other programs.
In a layman's understanding of the funds, it is like somebody who is working at a restaurant who has a salary for the month, but who will from time to time get a tip. The person cannot rely on the tip to pay his light bill and his rent every month, because sometimes a whole month goes by and you will get one tip. You understand? So you cannot use the CBI funds for recurrent expenditure. This is why we are utilizing the funds to create a better economy, to expand the economy so that, and to reduce poverty, so that you can see a multiplier impact on the economy, so it can generate revenue for you through the tax system.
Farmers, hoteliers and restaurant owners all benefit from loan facilities from CBI funds. CBI funds have also been used for poverty reduction through improvement of housing stock.
And that's why we're spending it in housing and eradicate the pit latrines and the small businesses. Because housing is one of the indices with regards to poverty. And if you can improve people's housing condition in the country and access to proper sanitation, this will help reduce the rates of poverty in our country. Because if people have access to potable water, they have access to sanitation, they have access to better housing. So once somebody is taken from a broken down home and placed in a good home, properly maintained, that person's way of life is automatically increased and improved.
The Prime Minister says both the IMF and the Central Bank have advised against using CBI funds for recurrent expenditure. A pilot national health insurance scheme to be launched next month will also be funded by the CBI. The Prime Minister maintains CBI funds can be used to make a one-time payment to public servants, but it's unwise to suggest that CBI funds should be used to pay salary increases, which is a recurrent matter.
I believe that we must allow the process to go through. As far as I know, there has been no breakdown in negotiations between the government and the Public Service Union. They're meeting, and if there is a breakdown, then the matter is referred to the Prime Minister, who will then intervene. Because government, from way back, have in place a government negotiating team. And that team comprises of the Secretary to the Cabinet, the Financial Secretary, and the Chief Personnel Officer. Now, the unions will make an offer or request, and the government team will make a counter offer. That's negotiation. Then you sit down, and you discuss, and you argue, and you fight, and you make noise, and you get up, and you walk out, and you come back inside, and you negotiate, and so forth. And to see how close or how far you guys can get in the negotiations.
Minister for Labour Rayburn Blackmore says he is considering a suggestion by trade unions calling for the establishment of an agency fee directed towards non-members of unions.
The agency fee, as has been explained to Channel 5 News by a trade unionist, would be a subscription to the union. The idea is for all employees to pay such a fee even if they are not members of the trade union lobbying on behalf of their workforce. Local trade unions have raised the issue with the Division of Labour, and according to Blackmore, he agrees with the concern whereby some who do not pay union dues still benefit from the outcome of trade union negotiations.
One of the other issues has to do that you have persons who belong to a union. That's another issue. Others don't. Then the union goes out and to negotiate on behalf of its members. And at the end of the day, everybody gets the same benefit. The question is whether it is reasonable to conclude that persons who do not belong to the union, but who also enjoy the same benefit, whether they should not be made to pay some fee to the union. I think this is should give rise to some useful discussion, and I think it's something that we have to address, and that is why, as the Minister for Labour, with responsibility for labour, I think that we have to address this matter frontally. The issue of looking at this redundancy ceiling, and the issue of trying to address an long-outstanding issue from the union whereby non-members get the same benefit at the end of a negotiation process.
While Blackmore says he would like the matter addressed with finality, he said it should be done in a democratic and transparent manner.
Other lead stories: Dominica and its OECS counterparts have identified a shipping route which will facilitate access to the Cuban market for their products. The shipping process will be made easier due to the normalizing of relations between the U.S. and Cuba. The word from Trade Director Mathan Walter, who says Dominica is looking at ways it can establish markets in Cuba along with other OECS countries.
We still continue working very closely with the OECS to explore the Cuban market. We had a trade show not too long ago where we had a Dominican producer up in Cuba exhibiting his product. We have had discussions with him, discussions with the OECS about how we can use the certain shipping routes to get Dominican products along with other OECS products onto the Cuban market. So we have great things in store for Cuba.
Walter says some difficulties have already been ironed out to progress with the plan.
We are clear on a shipping route that can be used. Some of the nuances that we thought we would face, for example, the long period of time it takes to register a company in Cuba and the amount of time it takes for financial transaction and payment to be made, we have been able to deal with that. We are clear that we could use the hub in Jamaica to be able to catapult our products to Cuba, and we have an idea of how, without having to depend on full containers of one particular product to Cuba, that we could do mixed containers and get our local products onto the Cuban market where it would be bought using the convertible pesos. So there's a lot of work in the undercurrent that is being done to be able to establish markets for Dominican agro-processing companies in Cuba.
Businesses from the OECS, including Dominica's Nature Island products, participated in Cuba's largest trade fair late October to November 2016.
Back in the day, we did used to ship soap from the DCP at the time to Cuba for the hotels. But then when the American embargo came into play, and then you had this situation where a boat that docks on the Cuban dock cannot go to the United States and all that, we had to kind of reformulate things and try to see if we could find a shipping route, that would allow us to get our products to Cuba.
The remaining $400,000 of an initial $500,000 for the development of the country's music industry will be used for Dominican artists to showcase their talent to the international community in a specialized campaign later this year. Andrea Louis has more.
This as the Association of Music Professionals, AMP, launches the second phase of its music industry development strategy for Dominica. President of AMP, McCarthy-Marie, warns that artists will have to meet a certain standard in order to be selected to receive international exposure through the France-based television company TRAS.
They've agreed to promote Dominica's music all across the different markets, which is South Africa, Angola, Mozambique, Senegal, the Ivory Coast, Gabon, or Latin Africa, and then in Europe. And they also just set up a SVOD platform, which is a subscription video on demand platform, where we will be given, prominence in the thing. They also own radio stations in Martinique, Guadeloupe, and French Guyana. And they promised that our songs will be programmed on their radio stations.
The selected artists for this segment of music development will also do showcases in Martinique, Guadeloupe, and France, which Trace will film for later replay on their various platforms during a time dubbed Dominica Month.
For the time being, we haven't actually chosen them yet, because the way we're going to do it, we're going to make a call for songs, which we'll hope the people who are trained in songwriting will respond. But it's not limited to them. Other people who didn't come to the training but who think they write songs well have the possibility of sending songs to us, and then we'll choose about 10 songs to make an album, which will be the calling card for the artists who are going to be showcased in these 3 countries, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and France.
Through proposal approval, $100,000 had been spent on 3 previous workshops of AMP, which had been constituted as Phase 1. Phase 2 of the music development strategy costs approximately $400,000. In the Prime Minister's budget address of 2015, it was announced that $500,000 would be made available for the development of the music industry. That facility for this amount was set up at the Aid Bank in early 2016. And in February 2017, Prime Minister Skerrit had announced that yet another tranche of money, this time $1 million, will be made available for the development of the music industry through a loan facility also set up at the Aid Bank. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
On the court scene, a former village council member and scout leader from the north is serving a 5-year jail sentence for buggery. Julian Morris has more.
Harold Tyson had pleaded not guilty to the charge, but after a full trial, the jury returned a unanimous verdict of guilty. The maximum sentence for the offense of buggery is 10 years in jail. Tyson's lawyer, Win Norde, told the court no violence was used in the commissioning of the crime, and the virtual complainant was of the age of consent. Speaking from the prisoner's dock, Tyson told the court he was deeply sorry that he had to be there at that stage in his life. He also asked the court to temper justice with mercy, since the conditions at the prison are not the best. The prosecution told the court that Tyson should be jailed for his actions, especially given the fact that he showed no remorse for his action. It was premeditated, there was penetration, and he waited when the virtual complainant was asleep. Justice Charles Clark stated that buggery is abhorred by society and is a serious crime in Dominica. A social inquiry report concluded that the incident had adversely affected the virtual complainant's state of mind.
Coming up, diplomatic relations between Australia and Dominica. That and more when we return. Welcome back to Channel 5 News. An executive member of the Dominica Calypso Association is cautioning Calypsonians and their writers to take heed of the advice given by the association when producing material for airplay.
Earlier this year, the Court of Appeal of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court upheld a decision by High Court Judge Errol Thomas to dismiss the appeal of Calypsonian Abel Checo John Baptist in a defamation lawsuit filed by Ambassador Dr. Philbert Aaron in 2013. As a result of his having lost the case, John Baptist now has to pay $130,000 in damages to Aaron. Treasurer of the Calypso Association, Kelly DeGhost Williams, says the association does play a part in advising Calypsonians on their lyrics. However, others who are not as well informed seem to have more influence over the performer.
Now, we live in a kind of environment where whenever we try, but we always still give the advice, what we heard you sing in there, you have to put it in order. Now, people will tell you not to worry with Goose and them, because people always believe because you self-competing, you want to water down a man's song. Every Calypsonian that getting problem, I can tell you, even Checo is there, maybe half of the Calypso Association talk to Checo. because we know what it is. We talk in Calypso, we just tell you when it's tight. If it's the truth, you can sing it any volume and anywhere. But if it's not the truth, you have to know how you're masking it that they cannot hold you.
Williams pointed out that the association's attempts to guide the Calypsonian is also a means of helping the show promoter at whose event the Calypsonian performs.
We try to guide people because if you go on the Calypso stage and you sing, the promoter is also liable if the person pursuing any kind of litigation wants to, because you go and sing on that stage, and we are the ones responsible. And that's one of the reasons why we try to guide people too.
Australia believes its relationship with Dominica can be used as an example of people coming together. Australian High Commissioner to Dominica, His Excellency John Pilbeam, met with the Prime Minister on Friday. He spoke to Channel 5 News against the backdrop of some citizens in countries such as the United States and the United Kingdom looking more inward.
I think people just need to keep their minds open. There's a lot of knowledge out there. I think perhaps the difficulty in the world today is that there's so much knowledge out there that people just choose to take in the knowledge that they already agree with. They don't approach the great mass of knowledge that we now have the privilege of access to. They don't approach that with open minds. And people who live in, smaller countries, open economies like Dominica, and Australia is still a smaller country. They perhaps have to be a bit more sensitive to the rest of the world, and I think that gives them a better chance of coming to the right answers.
He said that Dominica can expect a friend in Australia when it comes to climate change mitigation, education, and other common development objectives.
There are still scholarships called the Endeavour Awards, which can be applied for, and in fact applications for those awards will open in the next 6 weeks, I think. But you do that online, and you go into a competition with everyone else in the world, and people from the Caribbean still win them, I mean, there are some real high-quality students out there in the Caribbean, and we find that when we get them into Australian tertiary institutions, they do really well because they start with the same, common cultural baggage, which includes the English language, cricket, netball, whatever you could think of. It's amazing how much we do that's really the same, and it underlies our culture as well as yours. So.
In other news, a series of educational sessions at schools around the island is on the cards for the Dominica Met Office as it gears up to celebrate World Met Day this week.
World Met Day, recognized on 23rd March by the WMO and its members, is observing its 67th anniversary this year under the theme Understanding Clouds. A revised cloud atlas with the addition of 3 new cloud types will be released by the WMO on Thursday.
There has been a cloud atlas that has been in existence for over 30 years. And that cloud atlas is used to educate meteorological persons or personnel on the different types of clouds. And this year, on the 23rd of March, there will be the launching of a new cloud atlas, and that can be accessed on WMO's website. Some of the clouds are not found in Dominica. So we have the aspiratus cloud, we have the volatus cloud. Oh, and there's the contrail. So that cloud can be found in Dominica. Well, it's going to be an addition to the cloud atlas. So in this case, then you will see we have 13 types of clouds.
World Met Day seeks to highlight the work done by the Met organizations around the world, including Dominica's Met Services. The country joined the WMO in 1980.
Designs for a new Bailey Bridge at Makushui are currently being finalized. The Ministry of Public Works and Ports says in a release that it's working feverishly to install a new Makushui Bailey Bridge as well as the new permanent Makushui Bridge. The Bailey Bridge at Makushui failed due to heavy rainfall earlier in March. In the interim, motorists are advised to use the old Makoshui Estate Bridge for vehicles weighing less than 10 tons under the temporary path created on the Makoshui River for all other vehicles. That's news. Your sports highlights is next with Kenny Williams.
In football, Mao Soccer Strikers was crowned the champions of the DFA Division 1 League when they defeated the Digicel Newtown Juvenile Academy Harlem United 2-1 on Sunday. Jaren Sebastian netted twice for Mao, with Owen Matthew scoring for Harlem. Jaren Sebastian is captain of the winning team.
Basically, my team, we were determined. We maintained we're not going to lose today, a matter of fact. Yes. We maintained this was our own. I think it was time that we shut it up the critics. They thought that we would never make it to the finals, as a matter of fact. During the season, we had some mishaps, setbacks, started off the season on a back foot, on a -3, but we did not let that bring us down. We just kept on going, took our training, not really serious as other teams, but we still did what we had to do in order to make it to the finals. We came with a mind to win this game. We said we are not going down tomorrow without the trophy, so them scoring a goal, that didn't break us down, just not a bit.
Meantime, coach of the Harlem side said the absence of their lead striker was a major blow in the final.
A few things we didn't play the game that we normally play for the season. We were kind of slow to the ball this game, and I think that Maho was a more hungrier team. They came here, to win the game, and I think they played the game that they deserve to play to win the game this evening. When you lose a striker in the caliber of Randolph Peltier, it really leaves a hole in your offense, and we really miss him this afternoon. But we have players we know that are capable of doing the job. But this evening, I think it was, Maho. It was Maho's turn. Maho really played the better of the game per se, and they came out with the victory. So congratulations to Maho.
Moving on to cricket, where Marino Blasters defeated Dublin Sports Club by 58 runs in action from the 2017 Digicel Augustus Gregoire Premier Cricket League on the weekend. At Botanic Gardens, Blasters batted first and was bowled out for 62, with Dublin replying with 114. In the second innings, Blasters posted 174, setting the target at 122. In reply, the Dublin team fell short and was bowled out for 64. In another game at Benjamin's Park, Northern Stars Sports Club took first knock and posted 162 all out, with 55 from Sherlon George, Jason Lamont 29 and Kevin James 22. Courtney Anselm picked up 4 for 38 and Lex Magloire 2 for 36. In reply, Grand Bay Credit Union Coles scored 59 for 2, with Sean Barron and Sawan Lockhart scoring 24 not out and 21 not out respectively. No play was possible on the second day. Meantime, Guyana defeated Trinidad and Tobago by 10 wickets in the WICB PCL Regional 4-Day Tournament on Monday. TNT batted first and scored 202 all out. In reply, Guyana was bowled out for 330 with half-centuries from Asad Fuddedin, Raymond Reefer and Romario Shepherd. In the second innings, TNT scored 183, set 56 for the win. Guyana equaled the target. In another match, Windward Islands Volcanoes went down to Barbados Pride by 9 wickets. Volcanoes' top batsman was Devon Smith with 103. Roston Chase was the star of the Bajan side, taking 7 for 22. Final scores: Volcanoes 293 and 71, Barbados 324 and 41 for 4. And Leeward Islands Hurricanes defeated Jamaica Scorpions by 34 runs. The highlights from that encounter were Jeremiah Lewis 8 wickets haul for Hurricanes and Jerome Taylor's 7 wickets. Final scores: Hurricanes 71 and 133, Jamaica 56 and 114. Back with more football, President of the Dominica Football Association, Glenn Etienne, says the secondary schools program is a key part of the local body's plan to develop the sport here. His comments came at the opening of the 2017 Dominic Women's League.
The DFA has a plan for women's football, a very comprehensive plan, a developed plan, and the coaches here must take advantage of the secondary school program. And why I say that is because Yes, the older footballers here, sometimes you will have to leave the sport. You cannot remain in it for everlasting. So you need the continuity. You need where to continue Harlem, to continue new generation, to continue Goodwill Runners and all the other teams. So then you need the youthful persons. And we are working with the sports division in the secondary school league. And it's a very productive league. So I want to encourage the various coaches of the women's team to show or not participate, but to visit some of the games, because they can scout out the young persons from their area and make part of their team.
He says the DFA is stepping up to help the female footballers to be encouraged to play more football.
Another problem we have realized and we want to assist the team with, we will make a contribution to all the clubs to help them with their transportation. The DFA will make a contribution to all the teams because we realize the fragileness of the women's football, and transportation is one of the areas that pose a problem for traveling to the various areas, because we are aware that it's going to be a two-round league, it's going to be home and away, and sometimes you have to go to Portsmouth to play, sometimes you have maybe have to go to, well, the teams from the north have to come to Newtown, has to play in Pottersville, has to play in Maho or in Dublin. So we realize it's going to be a challenge, so we will make a financial contribution to the team. Well, we want to make a financial contribution to each team. We will give $1,000 to each team.
New India Goodwill Runners won the Soccerama and defeated New Generation Sports Club 1-0 in the finals. 4 teams participated in the Soccerama, while 6 are expected to take part in the league. Meantime, in action from the Under-15 Boys Zonal League.
Friday, Central Young Ballers and the Western Youngsters played to a 1-1 draw in the first match of a doubleheader at the Stock Farm Complex. Jefferson Toussaint scored for Central Young Ballers, with Delaney Alexander scoring for Western Youngsters. In the second match, South Stars United crushed its Jaguars 11-1. Odell Laville registered a hat-trick, with Terrence John Baptiste, Turam Toussaint and Majid Peltier scoring 2 each. Quinton Moise and Jamal Augustine got 1 each. Aaron Prince got a lone goal for his Jaguars. On Sunday, Central Overcomers edged out North Strikers 4-3.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us next time.
We check in now with the Met Office for the latest weather updates.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson. Weak and stable conditions was the dominant feature today, resulting in an increase in cloudiness across the Lesser Antilles. Visible satellite imagery showed cloudy skies across Dominica today. Radar imagery indicated shower activity to the east of the islands. The weather for tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy with a few brief scattered showers. Tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy skies and some scattered showers expected mainly during the early morning and late afternoon period. Seas tomorrow slight to moderate in open water, waves peaking up to 5 feet. Looking ahead for the next 3 days, partly cloudy to cloudy skies and some scattered showers expected mainly during the overnight and late afternoon period. Throughout the Caribbean tomorrow, weak unstable conditions will result in partly cloudy to cloudy skies and some scattered showers expected mainly across the southern portion of the region. On the international cities forecast, cloudy skies expected in New York and Beijing, fair to partly cloudy skies expected in London and Miami, while cloudy skies and some rain expected in Caracas. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:08 a.m. and sunset at 6:17 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please call our weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Prime Minister Skerritt not convinced that CBI funds should be used to pay salary increases to public servants. Dominica and OECS counterparts identify means to establish inroads into the Cuban market, and Calypso writers want to pay attention to the rules of the craft to avoid lawsuits. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can access the news on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona Jean Baptiste, and to our viewers around the world, thank you for watching.